Welcome to the Unveiled Epoch Echoes channel. Today, we're diving deep into an unexplored historical mystery. In the quiet river town of Missouri, where the Mississippi moves like a slow sheet of hammered silver beneath the moonlight and the cicadas sing in patient rhythm through humid summer nights, there once stood a narrow brick building wedged between a barber shop and a general store, its windows dusty, its sign modest, bearing the name The Chronicle. A newspaper so unremarkable at first glance that no one passing along Main Street in the spring of 1899 would have guessed it held a secret older than the town itself, and stranger than any headline ever printed in bold black ink. The Chronicle was run by a widowed editor named Thomas, a soft-spoken man with ink-stained cuffs and thoughtful gray eyes who believed in the steady dignity of facts, the reassuring cadence of typeset columns, and the notion that a newspaper's duty was not to alarm but to illuminate. And yet on the morning of April 17th, his presses rolled out an edition that would unsettle the town in ways no ordinary news ever could. The headline read, without embellishment, "Fire engulfs the grain elevator. 3 injured, town rallies." And beneath it was a detailed account of a blaze that had not yet happened, nomming the hour 2:13 a.m., describing the way sparks would leap like frantic fireflies against the river fog, even listing the 3 men who would suffer minor burns while attempting to salvage sacks of wheat. When townsfolk gathered at Dawson's to sip coffee and read, they laughed at first, assuming it a misprint or a fictional exercise, until the following night unfolded exactly as described. The grain elevator erupting in flame at precisely 2:13 a.m., the sky poolsing orange against the dark water, and the 3 named men carried out coughing but alive, just as the Chronicle had calmly reported 24 hours earlier. Fear did not descend all at once. It seeped into gently, like mist rising from the river at dawn, as readers returned to the paper and found in the next edition another curious article, this one detailing the unexpected collapse of the old iron footbridge during a Sunday picnic, again dated for the following week, again written with serene confidence, and though Mayor Harper dismissed it as coincidence, urging calm in a speech beneath the courthouse clock. The townspeople could not ignore the uneasy sensation that the Chronicle was not reporting events, but anticipating them with unnerving precision. Thomas himself appeared as bewildered as anyone, insisting to his apprentice, a bright young typesetter named Bell, that he had not written the predictive articles, that they appeared each dawn already composed in the galley trays, perfectly set in type he did not recall arranging, the metal letters cool to the touch as though placed by invisible hands in the quiet hours before sunrise. Who possessed a mind sharpened by curiosity and a heart steadied by logic, began keeping vigil in the print shop overnight, listening to the steady ticking of the wall clock and the distant hoot of riverboats. Yet she never saw anyone enter, never heard the creak of floorboards beyond her own careful steps. And still each morning new columns appeared, forecasting accidents, political outcomes, even a sudden summer storm that would flood the low-lying farms along Willow Creek. The predictions were not grand prophecies of national upheaval, but intimate local certainties, woven into the daily life of. And what unsettled most was the tone of the writing, gentle and almost compassionate, as though the unseen author wished not to frighten, but to prepare. As weeks passed and each event unfolded exactly as printed, the Chronicle gained a reputation that drew visitors from neighboring counties, scholars from Louis, and eventually a stern representative from Washington who arrived by train with a leather briefcase and a suspicion that something unnatural, or perhaps unpatriotic, was at work. For in an era when America prided itself on progress and rational order, The notion of a newspaper reporting the future threatened the fragile boundary between reason and superstition. The representative, Agent Horace, questioned at length beneath the hum of gas lamps, examining the printing press, the type cases, even the ink barrels, yet he found no hidden mechanism, no clandestine messenger slipping pages under the door, only a weary editor and a vigilant apprentice who both seemed as much victims of the mystery as the town itself. It was who noticed the subtle pattern linking the predicted events, a pattern not of chaos but of correction. For in each instance, the Chronicle's advance reporting had allowed townspeople to mitigate disaster, reinforcing the grain elevator after reading of the fire so that only part of it burned, repairing the footbridge before Sunday so that its collapse injured no one, sandbagging Willow Creek ahead of the storm so that livestock were saved and homes spared. The future described in ink was not immutable. It bent slightly in response to awareness, as though the act of reading shifted the course of events like a gentle hand guiding a rudder. Began to suspect that the Chronicle was less a prophet than a mirror, reflecting potential outcomes drawn from currents already flowing beneath the surface of daily life. And she delved into the paper's history, discovering that the building itself had been constructed atop older foundations, remnants of a French trading post from the 1700s, which in turn stood upon a Native American mound whose purpose had long been forgotten. An earthwork aligned with certain stars that wheeled overhead each spring. Late one night, as the town slept under a sky pricked with quiet constellations, descended into the cellar with a lantern brushing aside dust to reveal a ring of stones arranged in a precise circle beneath the floorboards, stones etched with faint markings that resembled both printing glyphs and celestial symbols. And in that stillness, she felt a strange serenity, as if time itself pooled there, not as a straight line, but as a calm, reflective lake in which past and future shimmered together. She realized then that the Chronicle might be drawing its foresight not from magic, but from deep patterns, from the accumulated memory of the land and its people, from probabilities whispered through history like wind through tall prairie grass. The climax came when an edition appeared foretelling a far more devastating event. Consumed by river, town to vanish by autumn. The article described relentless rains, levees failing, the Mississippi swelling beyond any recorded height, submerging Main Street beneath brown, churning water, and unlike previous predictions, this one offered no gentle mitigation, only a quiet acknowledgement of inevitability. Panic rippled through, families packing belongings, businesses shuttering, agent telegraphing superiors with urgent warnings, while stood in the press room pale and shaken, insisting he had never wished for such a prophecy. Yet, studying the article's measured prose, noticed a subtle line near the end that others overlooked, a mention of a choice made before the final bell tolls, and she understood that the Chronicle was presenting not destiny but decision. She gathered the townspeople in the courthouse square at dusk, the air thick with anticipation and the scent of river mud, and urged them not to flee but to act collectively, to reinforce the levees beyond any previous effort, to divert tributaries, to plant willow saplings along vulnerable banks, to treat the prediction as a call to unity rather than surrender. Through long summer days and nights, under lantern light and blistering sun, labored together, farmers and shopkeepers, children and elders, guided by the calm urgency of ink on paper. And when the autumn rains arrived and the Mississippi rose like a restless giant, the town held firm, the levees straining but unbroken, the streets damp yet intact, the river eventually receding with a weary sigh. On the morning after the floodwaters, the Chronicle printed a simple headline, "Endures," and beneath it no prediction, no future date, only a reflection on courage and cooperation. From that day forward, the mysterious advance articles ceased, the typeset trays remaining empty each dawn until and filled them with ordinary news once more. And though visitors continued to ask about the season when the paper reported the future, spoke of it softly, as one might speak of a vivid dream that leaves behind a lingering lesson rather than a clear explanation. Would later write that perhaps the Chronicle had never truly seen tomorrow, but had instead listened deeply to today, to the quiet mathematics of cause and effect, to the murmured warnings embedded in weather patterns and human habits, and translated them into stories compelling enough to inspire change. And she often returned to the cellar, standing within the ring of stones, gazing up at the ceiling beneath which presses once hummed with uncanny foresight, feeling gratitude for the strange convergence of ink, earth, and starlight that had granted her town a second chance. As years passed and the 20th century unfolded with its own storms and triumphs, the Chronicle remained a modest paper, its brief season of prophecy fading into local legend. Yet those who knew the truth carried within them a quiet awareness that the future is rarely a fixed script, that it hums gently around us like the Mississippi under moonlight, responsive to attention and care, and that sometimes the greatest mystery is not how we glimpse what lies ahead, but how we choose to respond when we do. With fear or with unity, with resignation or with resolve, and in that understanding found not only survival but a deeper sense of belonging to the long, unfolding story of America, a story written not solely in textbooks but in the patient, watchful hearts of its people. This mysterious journey ends here, but stay tuned for more untold stories in our next video. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new stories. Thank you, and see you again.